Pixar's newest movie, Elemental, is in theaters now. But is there still a fire for Pixar movies? Or will this one drown in disappointment? Here's our spoiler-free review of Elemental, only Pixar's second theatrical release since Onward back at the beginning of 2020. I'm Emily, and this is Does It Hold Up? Elemental is the story of Ember, a fire person from Fire Town, and Wade Ripple, a water person from Element City. After a chance meeting, they grow feelings for each other, but they could never be together because they are made of fire and water respectively. So we get the old cliche of star-crossed lovers who can't be together because of outside sources, but with a Pixar look. This movie is directed by Peter Sohn, who has worked previously with Pixar as an animator on movies such as Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Brave. This is not his first time in the directing chair though, as he also helmed 2015's The Good Dinosaur, possibly Pixar's worst movie to date. Not sure what he did to get another chance, and after this outing, I'm not so sure he'll get another one. There isn't anything especially wrong with Elemental, there just isn't anything new, exciting, or promising with it either. Seeing this movie in theaters, you'll be treated to a brand new Pixar short before the feature, Carl's Date. We catch back up with Carl Fredricksen as he prepares for a date with an elderly neighbor with the help of his best friend Doug. This short, although cute, felt very unnecessary and might ruin the magic of Up. It also let us know immediately what we were getting into with Elemental. Leah Lewis voices Ember, a young woman who is all set to take over her immigrant father's shop when he decides to retire. Mamadou Ache voices Wade Ripple, a city inspector that initially tries to get Ember's shop shut down before realizing what a mistake it was, and tries to help Ember set it right. The rest of the voice cast includes Ronnie Del Carmen as Ember's dad Bernie, Sheila Omi as Ember's mom Cinder, Wendy McLennan Covey as Wade's boss Gail, and Catherine O'Hara as Wade's mom Brooke. All of them do an excellent job, but this might be a case of miscasting, as none of the voices seem to really match the characters, and none of the performances will wow you in any significant way. The story, with 7 people being credited with either story by or screenplay by, definitely feels like there was too many cooks in the kitchen. When the fire people show up, they are shunned by water, earth, and cloud people for their destructive nature. And, like most Pixar films, this movie leans heavily into metaphor, or allegory, or whatever you want to call it. But unlike most Pixar films, this one stays right on the surface and doesn't dig deep enough into the heavy subject matter it tries to use as a backdrop to the story. Racism, segregation, and interracial dating are a focal point of the movie without ever outright using those words, but because the movie isn't complex, it's pretty easy to figure out. The writers touch upon these subjects, but never push hard enough on the themes to make them feel more than just a cheap way to get people talking. The separation of people and coming together despite our differences is something they could have talked about, but it never quite reaches the goal of having anything important to say on the subject. The story also feels very basic and talks down to its audience in a way that I don't think Pixar has ever really done before. If you didn't know, fire and water don't mix and are in fact total opposites to each other. Because of this, they don't get along. And if you didn't know these things, the movie will make sure to remind you every few minutes of runtime. Even though the animation in this movie is beautiful, as are most Pixar films, there's something familiar about it. Oh, that's right. It's the Pixar style. Every single one of their movies is beginning to look and feel exactly the same. If there were 4 stills from 4 different Pixar movies in front of me that doesn't include characters, I imagine it would be very difficult to tell which movie this still was from. It's getting old to have the same visuals in each movie. There's nothing to get excited about when we are watching other studios like DreamWorks and Illumination gain ground as their movies feel fresh and vibrant. At the end of the day, I don't know exactly who Elemental was for. The heavy subject matter isn't explored deep enough for this movie to be for the older crowd, but the unfunny jokes and repetitive nature of the story is too boring and abstract for the younger audience. Outside of the breathtaking, even if familiar animation, this movie isn't all that original. If you want to see the story told in a better and deeper way, watch Romeo and Juliet or West Side Story, and you'll have a much better time. Overall, this movie was a step back for the once great Pixar, and it feels like the studio just can't seem to find its mojo again. Outside of Turning Red from 2022, there hasn't been a truly amazing Pixar film since Coco in 2017. So, with all that said, we're gonna give Elemental a C+, because it feels like Pixar played it way too safe with this movie, but it also gets an average grade for the visuals alone. There's no need to run out and see Elemental in theaters. With Disney pushing so hard for people to subscribe to Disney+, they have trained their audiences to wait for it there anyway. Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on Pixar's latest film, Elemental. Will you see it in theaters or wait for it to hit Disney+? In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications. Or check out some of our other great content right now. Until next time, I'm Emily, and I'll see you soon. Bye!